Hello, my name is John Moseley. I'm an attorney in Virginia. I am in Northern Virginia near Washington, D.C. in Woodbridge, and I practice in Fairfax and surrounding counties. Do you need an attorney? Can you do things without an attorney? I can't say it's never true, but most everybody who comes to me has tried to handle their situation by themselves, and they've made a total mess of their situation. Now, I don't want to say that I'm the smartest person in the world. I know it sounds self-serving to say pay an attorney, and you may not believe it, but I'm telling you, it's true. Most of the people who come to me, they've wasted lots of time. They've made their problem worse, much worse in many cases. They've often lost a lot of money in the meantime, and they come to me and want me or some other attorney to unravel the mess when they now no longer have any problem. They now are out of time, and they have made this, they've dug themselves into in a deeper hole. I had a case for a friend, and I knew the mother a little bit, and the mother wrote a will, handwritten will, in 1997. She died in 2014. A lot of time went by. Now, a handwritten will, it can be legal, but it does have to say some things specifically. It can't just say, maybe, I kind of hope you do this. And even back in 1997, you could pay between $300. You could pay more. You could pay maybe up to $1,500 or something for a real professional will from a law firm that charges a lot. But you could, you don't have to pay that much money to get a will. The family, of course, spent, one party, one of the children spent over $25,000 because of the disputes that were going on, and not willingly, unwillingly being dragged into these things. So there are so many times when you could pay a lawyer a little bit of money to handle a situation and save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I always try to help people understand, what can we do within your budget? What's the most economical way to do things? Are there things that are beyond, your checkbook right now? I try to be very careful with it. I try to be very affordable. I don't have famous paintings on my wall, plush carpet, marble in my office, those kinds of things. I try to make myself affordable because I want to help people who are not just, made of money. One of the problems I think people have is you assume. You assume that, I can't talk to a lawyer because they're so expensive. And many of them are. Not all of them, though. And depending upon what you're asking, a lot of lawyers would write a contract for you for a few $100s. But you're assuming that, a lawyer, they're going to charge me tens of thousands of dollars. Some will, but there are many out there, probably most, who won't. So you really need to take care of finding out what your options are and not just assuming. I worked at this law firm who, by the way, they would charge outrageous amounts of money for, a misdemeanor. They charge almost 10 times what I would charge to defend one misdemeanor. But when I was there, they had a client who 5 years earlier, you can almost see where these stories are going, but they're real. It's real. I can prove it. 2 co-workers worked at an airline, and they're all from a culture where, to hear their explanation, not mine, the way they explain it is that the husband, the head of the household, speaks for the family. It isn't that men are better than women. It's just that there's a leader. It has to be somebody, and he speaks for not just the woman, but for the family, for the household. And they took, one of them wanted to sell a house they had. But the other, and so they met, they talked at work, and one of them said, well, I can't buy it outright, but I'll rent it. I'll rent to own. I said, great. So they made up a contract where after 5 years, or up to a maximum of 5 years, of renting the house, they could buy the house at the end of the period, or whenever they chose to do it. Well, if you know life, you know by now the price of real estate, this was in the 2000s, the price of real estate in that area soared in the meantime. And the value of that house went through the roof. And so when the time came at the end to complete the sale contract, the rent to own, the seller didn't want to do it. Well, as it turns out, they had this horribly written, simplistic contract, and it wasn't signed by the wives. The husband signed. The wives didn't sign the contract. So they got screwed. But they went to court. I know at one point, I know at one point their bill was $22,000. I think it eventually went up to $30,000. An attorney would have written a contract for $300, maybe $500. Maybe an expensive attorney would have written a contract for $600. And that's because most of these contracts are routine. They're typical. They have to be customized, but they're typical. Instead of having an attorney write their contract or look it over for $300, $600, they spent $22,000, I think ultimately $30,000 litigating over this. Now, is that smart? Why is everybody so convinced that they know it all and they don't need an attorney? Now, I know that it's hard to find an attorney that you like. I've tried to do it in other states where I'm not licensed for my family, for friends. I've tried to help them find other attorneys. And I know it's not as easy as it sounds. But you have to talk to a lot of attorneys and find somebody whom you can afford and you can help. The saddest thing I have, and I don't give up easily, I am a fighter, and I do not want to quit, I do not want to lose. But when somebody comes to me with a real problem, and they've truly been wronged, and I can't do anything about it, because they waited too long, and they messed it up so bad, that there are no options left. And this just bugs me. I try to find a way to untangle the mess, but a lot of times I can't. And a lot of lawyers won't even try. So I would encourage you, I know that many people can't afford a lot of money for an attorney. I know a lot of lawyers are busy and they don't have any time for any more clients. Just like we used to talk about doctors. Are doctors taking more patients? Sometimes no. I got all the patients I can handle. I'm not accepting any new patients. Some law firms are like that. They don't have time. And some of them are specialized. They don't want to do your thing, or they don't get you. They don't like, what you want to do. Yes, you have to talk to a lot of different lawyers before you find somebody, but don't do it yourself. It might look easy on TV. It might look easy on your Google search, but it isn't. Don't do it yourself. This is John Moseley. Again, you can find out more information on my website, johnmoseley.com. No H, 2 E's, JONMOSELEY.com. And whomever you choose as an attorney, I want to help you understand your rights. Thanks.